Welcome back to the news. It's been a few weeks. Let's jump into it. I'm going to go back to September 12th in my news.jace.pro site. While I'm going back, I guess we can talk about the community. On the 2nd of October, a new community is going to be launched, and anything posted since I think it was the 22nd until the 2nd, all that stuff will disappear because they don't have a plan to migrate stuff in that 10-day period. So hopefully everything in those 10 days aren't important because it's not going to be captured. We're just going to start with the things I have voted that I noted here. So there's this browser extensions for ServiceNow Developer Productivity Boost YouTube video by Martin Ivanov, who talks about ServiceNow utils and 2 other Firefox extensions for identifying the environment you're in and other productivity stuff. They're all Firefox extensions. Must be a Firefox user. Totally fine. Firefox is a great browser. I appreciate this kind of content. Video content is hard. I get that. I make it sometimes when I have time. Thank you, Martin. Robert Fedoruk posted this using Flow Designer to close a parent record when all the child tasks are complete. You know, this kind of stuff is how you teach folks to do things. So that's great stuff. And he does it quickly and he's to the point, and I appreciate that work. Yep, that's all I really have to say about that. Oh, I do want to note, cancel my transactions.do. So you can use cancel my transaction, singular, or cancel my transactions, plural, .do. I don't know why you'd use one or the other, but they both do the same thing. They cancel the current session transaction, which is useful when you load a list you don't mean to. Dylan Lindgren posts about from service portal widgets to next experience components. It's quite a long post with some graphics showing how much work goes into making a competent service portal widget and a like service or next experience widget. I appreciate it. That shows like the way to frame these kind of changes going forward. Not a lot of customers, or not, as time progresses, more people are going to be using Next Experience and are going to have to become familiar with those components when they need to do custom stuff. Chuck Tomasi has a new video. Well, on the 14th, he posted a video about the Navigator filter shortcuts. The thing I took from this, in addition to the .list, .form, .config, is that you can do it in every single text field for favorites, all, and experiences or workspaces. I didn't realize that, so that's great. ServiceNow has a next-gen program. They've been pumping that up and being excited about that, and it's a great program. There's a couple things in here about it. We have this podcast on the 14th, and then we have this video on the 14th as well. But really, companies should consider hiring these next-gen folks. And in addition to that, there's other boot camps that have folks too. Getting somebody who's new isn't a bad thing. It just means they haven't built the experience. But they'll get there. So give them a chance. Ashley Center posts a list of UI Builder videos. Who doesn't like an index or table of contents? I love that kind of stuff. Mahesh writes about the new Tokyo feature on updating and deleting bulk records without scripting, which is that is so helpful. The docs, sometimes they'll say like, this is a feature, here's all the fields for the form, and you may or may not set these, but like an actual use case of like how to use it, that's where the community stuff comes into play now, it seems. And Mahesh did a wonderful job writing that up. I read that a couple times now. Justin Meadows made some video on Lucidchart, which is a great tool for diagramming. It's like a Visio alternative. Jeff Pierce made a comic on the HR violation, and it made me laugh out loud because it reminded me of the time that I worked in Ohio for This, well, anyways, I appreciate that comic. Thank you, Jeff, for that. That brought me back a while. ServiceNow has been rearranging some of their content, I believe, for the move to the new community. So there's a whole bunch of these three-letter acronyms: now on now, product architecture, reference architectures, scoping guides, process guides, with a link to a bunch of other stuff, which is great. But I guess we'll see how it looks in the new community on the 2nd of October. So Corey Wesley and Robert Fedoruk have a podcast called CJ and the Duke. And not this episode, but the one before it is about how to get help. And that is a great video. I'll link to it below. If you need help or want to like try to make sure you're getting the help you need, like follow their advice because it is fantastic. I've written on the topic. I know Tim Woodruff has written on the topic before, but when you're posting and you need help, it isn't like you're looking on how to get help. You're just like, help me, I have a problem. The developer advocates, they do an actual highlight reel of the Build with AES hashtag challenge that they had that went through September 19th. I haven't had a chance to look at this highlight reel, but I've been meaning to as I've been following that challenge. I would love to see these folks, anybody who made these Build with AES things, try to build the same thing with another tool. I mean, take your pick. You got Microsoft Forms, you got Bootybase, you got Retool, you got AWS Amplify. Like, how easy or difficult is it in these other tools? It'd be kind of interesting to see, right? I mean, who knows? Maybe there's something in those other spaces that are just as easy, or maybe it'll highlight how much more difficult it is. I do it, but I just haven't time. And I think that brings us pretty current for the stuff that I wanted to highlight. The other day, I posted on LinkedIn, when folks ask you, how do you get into tech? What do you do? Every time I try this, it seems to have problems. So I asked the folks on LinkedIn, what do you do? I got a bunch of responses, and some of them are really great. I personally really appreciate you cannot teach or train a cure for this. Every novice must exercise their own agency. This will never be a failure of your efforts. You must never let this negativity affect your mindset. When you don't show up, or when they don't show up, it's because they do not care. They care less about their progress than you do. And who are you to pay their deficit? The shorter version of that is, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Thanks, Rob. I really appreciate that. There's a load of other great comments here from other people, and I love it. Thanks, everybody, for being part of this conversation. Matt Baran, if you don't know who he is, he used to be quite the voice in the ServiceNow space. Now he's working on another product, but he's been asking questions about, like, is it time that we remove ServiceNow from the ITSM category when it comes to like the Gartner reports and this and that? He has some interesting points to make, and I don't necessarily disagree. Like, ServiceNow is a platform to build solutions for all sorts of things. ITSM was just their initial go at how to get into those companies. He reached out to, he tagged me and Corey Wesley and Rob Fedoruk on this as well. I would love to see some more engagement on here if you have it. It's been really interesting to read. But please let your opinion be known. I would love to see what comes of this conversation. Upcoming events. We got 3 meetups coming up. We have the Kitchener meetup on October 6th. Kitchener is east of Detroit, west of New York, in Canada. We got Oklahoma City on October 13th, and we got Colorado Denver on October 27th. There's a whole bunch of IT events. So if you are wanting to learn about predictive intelligence or virtual agent or Microsoft Teams in the chat or performance analytics, they have events for you over the next month. And that should bring us up to about Halloween. I will see you next time. Make sure to like and subscribe and ring the bell if you want to get notifications as soon as these things get posted. See ya.